And without further ado, I'm super excited for our guest tonight. Heather is so cool. She is a writer, an author, and around the world motorcycle rider. And she's got a really cool new book getting ready to drop here really soon. Wait, it just dropped today. It's called Riding Full Circle, and it is about her round the world motorcycle trip. And I'm so excited for her to share the presentation tonight that she has planned for you because it is so good. And in typical SheADV fashion, if you want to win a copy of her hot off the presses book, just drop a question or a comment in the chat and we'll shuffle them up and we'll pull a name out of the hat. But you got to be active in the chat with a question or a comment in order for us to know that you're here and you're active and you're engaged. Because Heather's got a great presentation, but I know you're going to have questions because I know, right? Everybody wants to ride their motorcycle around the world on some level, right? Or at least go on a grand adventure. So, without further ado, Heather, why don't you jump on in and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can just roll right into your presentation.
Thank you so much, Eva, for that awesome rundown. I've been busy writing all kinds of notes down because I'm like, oh, I want to sign up for that and I want to do this and that. And as we were talking about before everybody jumped on, when I first started doing this type of riding, I had no idea that there was such a great community. And in fact, I'm not even sure SheADV existed in 2015, 2014 when I started riding. And there weren't even any like clothing for women for riding and stuff too. So I just love having this outlet. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate being invited on. And I just love seeing all of these great women faces. And I have to say, my best friend Debbie from Revelstoke has signed on. Hi, Deb. Yeah, so I'm just going to start in on the slideshow if that's okay, because I do just kind of go into more detail there about kind of my background in writing and whatnot. So I'm going to make sure I share the right screen and not something embarrassing. Can you guys see the
Yes, if you
slide?
want to blow it up into.
I sure do. Yes, I'm just going to get into slideshow mode here. and, and start from there. So is that filling everyone's screen and looking okay?
Two big thumbs up.
Awesome. Okay. So first, again, just thank you for coming. I hope that whoops, did I switch the screen? Hoping that you can go away today with some kernel of knowledge, anything that you just kind of maybe didn't know before, or most importantly, with the understanding that there are so many great women out there and there's a lot of support for you. So I will say that I started thinking about doing a presentation like this because there was a time when I was talking to a woman and she said, I don't go out overnight on my motorcycle because I'm afraid to get my period in the middle of nowhere and I won't know how to deal with it. Or I'm afraid of being like assaulted. These are all definitely things that we have to think about as women, and it's hugely important to be always on the alert. But there's also a lot more of us out there and riding solo too. I did not ride solo on my round the world trip, although at times I kind of wished I was. We'll get into that. But this is where our trip started. And just for a bit of background, I started to learn how to ride in 2014 for my 40th birthday. And I just want to say I can't see anybody's faces. This is really weird. So if anybody needs to interrupt me, just jump in, because if I haven't if I can't see you, I can't, hopefully can hear you.
You're all good, Heather. Don't even worry about it. We're taking questions in the chat and I'll just feed them to you. And
Okay,
in a
awesome.
very
Thank you,
subtle way,
Eva.
I'll do something like, oh, hey, Heather.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm talking too much.
No, you're great. I'm so excited. Just carry on. But you just do your thing. You're
Okay.
off to a great start.
Thank you so much. So yeah, just to back up, I started writing in 2014 for my 40th birthday. I wanted to just do something really meaningful for turning that age. I've wanted a motorcycle since I was 12 years old. My dad, he took me on a ride around the block when I was 12, when he was selling his motorcycle. And he said, Heather, it's the last time. I'm selling it today. You want to jump on? And I was terrified of the thing. He took me around the block and I just kept like hitting him and going, more, 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 let's go farther, let's keep going. So I was devastated actually when he did sell the bike, because I'd been spending so much time being afraid of it. And then I tried it. And I think that just kind of tweaked something in my head. Like you can be scared of something, but yet it is so right for you. So that kind of sparked it. I was 12 years old, but my mom worked in an emergency room and I didn't want to, I just couldn't see her face every time I talked about getting a motorcycle. So years went by, I turned 40 and I was like, God damn it, I'm an adult. I'm going to get a bike. So most important thing was learning how to ride, but I will get to that. First, I just want to quickly talk about what happened in 2014 in April. I met a guy on the internet, and within a month of knowing him, we decided to sell everything we owned and ride around the world together. He did not have a motorcycle at the time, and I did. I had a Kawasaki Super Sherpa. And I was just like, hell, why not? Like, everything just aligned. I was ready for a big adventure. I didn't even know this guy. And I thought, well, if I don't like him, I can just leave him on my own bike. So I thought what did we have to lose? I 10 years later crave that kind of like carefree, like whimsical decision making, but so be it. So we decided to first start in the Americas, and we started in Revelstoke, British Columbia, and we went down to Ushuaia, Argentina. And just quickly, I'm not going to explain the route in great detail, but from there we did fly back to the US, did a bunch of the BDRs, the backcountry discovery routes, all on our way up to Alaska. We came back home for a little bit, then shipped ourselves and our bikes over to Cape Town, Africa, and we did 9 countries in Africa. We stopped in Kenya because we couldn't get Sudanese visas in time. And we flew from there to Scotland, where Dave, my riding partner, has a great friend. And from there, we rode the very, very long road towards the east to Magadan, Russia. So in total, it was just over 58,000 miles and 40 countries. And again, I am not a seasoned rider. I mean, I started out, this is my first day learning how to ride a motorcycle in 2013. And I'll go back to what I was talking about before is lessons. Like in Canada, which is where I was living at the time, I needed to have motorcycle lessons in order to get insurance and a valid license and all that stuff. So it was kind of imperative. It's kind of part and parcel, but this is just basic road awareness. And it was 6 weekends through the summer. And it did prepare me very well for cars. But what I discovered on my travels around the world is riding off-road was really, really difficult for me. So I'm going to come back to that part too. So yeah, by no means was I even remotely a seasoned rider when I decided to take this crazy trip around the world with Dave. For me, it was kind of this thought of like, I'm just going to learn as I go. So this was kind of the look I was going for when I first started riding a motorcycle. I just wanted to be this hot biker babe. and just like, careless and not really care, like not have hands on the handlebars or anything like that. So, and then little did I know, after taking lessons and, looking at some horrible outcomes of accidents online, I realized that I was going to be an at-gat girl. So all the gear, all the time. I'm pretty sure I don't have to preach that to anybody in this group. So not quite the look I was going for, but safe and protected. I have crashed a few times.
And extremely badass, by the way. Way more badass than riding around in a t-shirt and flip-flops. Let's just put that out there.
Oh yeah, now it's like I look at people like that and I'm like, oh my God, like your soft, beautiful skin is not gonna look great after that. Yeah. So I'm gonna just kind of jump into the kind of the feeling of what a trip around the world feels like before you actually do it. So sounds like a dream, right? I meet a guy, we set off into the sunset with like no worldly assets, no real plan, and we have 2 years to do it. It was just an amazing feeling. I was also terrified. I got caught up in the excitement of just saying yes. And then for several months while we did our prep, I laid awake, just freaked out, worrying about what I had just committed to with somebody I had no clue about. I was starting to get to know Dave pretty well, and I was starting to get to see that he could be very particular and uptight about several things. And these were all things I was starting to notice right at the beginning of our travels. Not even traveling yet, just in the prep stage. So many thoughts going through my head. I mean, just like, oh, what ifs, and the second guessing, and like, what if he leaves me on the side of the road in like Africa? What if, I will say what I have going for me is before I started this trip, I had been to 25 countries solo backpacking. And so it was, I just knew that I could take care of myself. You just have to have that sense of confidence that no matter what happens, you can take care of yourself. And the other wonderful, beautiful thing about life and traveling is that you're going to find somebody who can help you. It is the worst possible time for something to happen that somebody will come out of the woodwork and just be your guardian angel. And you know them for like an hour, you know them for 15 minutes. They give you a ride to the gas station. They put you up in their house for the night, and you just have this sense of somebody who's just saved you. So yes, it's important to be a strong, independent person, but I hesitate to say that that's all that matters, because you can put a lot of faith in people as well. So I got caught up in the excitement. We were being interviewed by the radio station, by CBC. We had this going away party. Our friends were there. We left the next day, and it was pure bliss for 2 weeks. We camped in the most amazing places. We were traveling down into Idaho and doing this super easy trail on the Idaho BDR. But remember, I had never been off-road before. So I misjudged the width of my bike, and I hit this boulder with my hard case pannier. And as you can see, it's off in the distance. It broke off. I hit it with such force that I broke it off, and I crashed into the ditch. And 2 weeks after leaving our home and saying goodbye to everybody for our 2-year around the world travels, I had a broken wrist, and I was back home. It was an absolute shock. I had no idea if I should even get back on a bike. I didn't know if Dave was going to leave me and continue going on the trip by himself. I had a lot of second guessing going on in my head. The worst part about this day was it was my 41st birthday as well. So kind of bad luck. What happens next is in the book, but I will say that there was a lot of self second guessing and just being like, I'm too scared to get back on a bike. And that was 2 weeks in. I was getting messages on our social media pages and stuff from mostly men of a certain demographic saying that bike is too big for you. You're just going to hurt yourself. You should, get a little bike, or, go home. All kinds of discriminate of comments that were really disconcerting to me and just served to fester in my brain. But at some point, you just have to ignore it and go back to just believing in the trip that you want to do. And I also want to kind of stress here that this talk presentation is not just for huge, big trips around the world, or even a month-long trip or down the Pan American. This is just leaving your driveway and doing that overnight weekend trip that you want to do that maybe you're a little nervous for. So my hope is that after tonight, some of you will feel comfortable just taking that next step towards that big trip that you have planned. So from my experiences and challenges after traveling around the world, my focus today is going to be more on tips for long distance, overnight, or multi-day rides. And I would love to hear in the comments afterward, or just when we do the Q&A, if there's any questions that you still have about or just where you'd like to go on your trip. What's next for you?
I love that. There are so many questions going into the chat right now, so it's really cool. People
awesome.
People are engaged. I know you feel like you're in a vacuum out there, but everybody is riveted to the screen right now.
Okay.
So we're so excited.
Oh, that's sweet.
So excited to hear more.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, I wish we could just all be sitting in a big living room drinking wine, but that's okay. This is the next best thing for sure. So women have been riding motorcycle for ages, and why the hell not? I mean, we have arms and legs and eyes and ears. What's the big deal? Why it shouldn't just be a male thing. My first tip would be don't compare yourself to others. And I'm wondering if in this shot you can tell which boots are mine. So this is a photo of a time when we were traveling with 3 guys from Latvia that were all 7 feet tall and 3 feet wide. This is an important and hard lesson to learn. Using others to inspire you is great. Using others to help you improve your riding is great. People who ride faster or better will quickly improve your riding. But it becomes a toxic thought process in your head if you're comparing yourself to others. If you're like, I'm just a girl with these 4 guys and I need to keep up to them. I can't embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass my boyfriend. I don't want to crash and cry and not be able to lift up my bike. These are some of the challenges of being a female rider, and what I felt were challenges while I was traveling with my riding partner, who was a male. And he also helped me improve my riding. At the time, I didn't probably know that. There was a lot of turning away and blasting off with anger and just feeling like a little kid who's being told what to do. But ride your ride. It got me into trouble a couple of times. I did have some crashes, and as you saw, I did break a bone. I also had a horrendous crash in Russia that thankfully I walked away from because I was wearing all the gear. My bike was messed up. I could continue riding it, but I was trying to keep up and I misjudged a feature in the road and it got me in a lot of trouble. So it is a tricky one. You want to maybe surround yourself with others that can improve your riding, but you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you'll be pressured to override. Yeah, I definitely felt out of my element at times. It was a big learning process. But yeah, it's know your boundaries. Tip number 2, safety and comfort. This is huge. There is nothing worse than being uncomfortable on your bike. And that discomfort can come from so many factors. It can be weather, environment. It can be your seat isn't comfortable. It can be your bike you have to reach too much, your back and shoulders hurt, everything. The hugest thing is is finding a bike that fits you well. I mean, I didn't know that for a long time. It's like trying to find the right ski boots and you have to go and test them and you realize you just spend $900 on a pair of boots that give you blisters and you can't return them. You can't necessarily return a bike. You can certainly sell it again, but it's important to try to get a bike that fits you. I haven't listed that here, but it's just something that popped into my mind. There were so many times I was really uncomfortable on the bike, and sometimes you just can't do anything about it. It's raining sideways, the wind is blasting. It's crazy. Other ways of being uncomfortable on a bike, if you're sick. So everybody has their opinion about vaccinations. As a traveler since I was 20, I always got vaccinated for the country. And in some cases I had to because I couldn't get into the country without having a certain vaccination. They're expensive, but if you are comfortable with them, they're a huge insurance policy for yourself. And I've heard some really sad stories about people getting really sick on their trips and not being able to finish their dream, or worse, contracting malaria or something like that. They're expensive, but don't skimp. Health insurance. Obviously, if you're leaving your country, this is huge. And then just as an addition, repatriation insurance. So it's morbid, it's sad to think about, but if your body is in Africa and your family wants it home in the US, who pays for that? So just be prepared. Now, if you're just doing your first weekend ride, of course, and you're in your own country, you're not going to have to worry about things like that. But of course, proper insurance for your bike and medical insurance, as we have here in the US, is very important. Animal and people precautions. Of course, a lot of people have this notion of like, I need to travel with a weapon, especially if I'm a female. I need to have some way to defend myself. The trouble with international traveling is that you can't bring a lot of that stuff across the border. So I received this tip years ago that I thought was just incredible. Bear spray, which you can get through most borders now as long as you claim it, and wasp spray. So for bees, you can just have a little can of that, and that can do some damage to someone's face. So if you're sleeping alone in a tent or you want to sleep alone in a tent and you're stopped by the fear of somebody coming into your camp at night and you're by yourself, just have a can of bear spray or bee spray at your door, because a knife, you have to get really close. A gun, that's just a lot. And you can't get across the border with some of those things. So, ways to prepare yourself so that you can enjoy yourself out there, even though as females, we do have to sometimes take extra precautions. Good gear is huge. As I mentioned earlier, the crashes I had were minimal due to my great gear. I had a jacket that zipped into my pants And that really saved me on that crash in Russia because that was on a hard surface. It would have ripped everything up and over my head. Boots, good boots. The bike landed on my legs several times. Things like that to just keep yourself safe. Good gear also can be things that make you more comfortable on your bike. We liked having communication systems. We didn't have them on all the time, but and I will say that they were a bit problematic. There's some funny stories in the book about failure to connect some of those. But even, I never thought I would do this, but I really enjoyed listening to music on some of the really lonely stretches, wide open highway, no one around. It's nice to have a calm system. You can hear some of your music that you love from home. And when you're in a foreign country, it's just really nice. And again, if you're just going, within a 2 days ride of your home, it can just be this nice, familiar feeling. And then, so communication systems and phones, again, it's a big hot topic about technology, whether to take it, whether not to. And of course, there can be problems with things crashing and software updates and all that stuff. But they're also a lifeline. They can hook you up with SOS services. And in this shot here, we were actually sponsored by InReach, and thank God we never had to press the SOS button. But this little gadget came in handy so many times when Dave and I got separated from each other. I did not. I had a cell phone only for listening to music. He carried a cell phone that we put SIM cards in every country to talk to family and friends or to make arrangements of hotels or things like that. And the only way I could communicate with Dave if we got separated was through the InReach device. Finally, I will, just because we are with the SheADV crowd, funny side story. I traveled around the world for 58,000 miles, and then I came back and was living near a place where Marie of SheADV was doing a course. And for fun, I pitched a story to a magazine that was along the lines of, I traveled around the world, what can I possibly learn from a weekend with SheADV? Now, of course, tongue in cheek, I knew I could learn something, but it was a fantastic weekend. Not only do you get some incredible skills and confidence, but you also just meet some great other riders and just have this fantastic fun time, lots of laughs. So fully worth the cost. It's not expensive when you really factor in everything else. And it just gave me so much more confidence in my bike. And when I took the lessons with Shal, I was riding an F800 GS, so a big, big bike that I still was slightly uncomfortable with after riding around the world. So yeah, and Shal Marie, I tried to find the story link, but I couldn't. So maybe if you do find it, it would be really fun to maybe share it in your newsletter sometime about what the findings were from that.
We'll share it out. We'll put it in the recap.
Awesome. So yeah, GPSs are great to have. One of the biggest things I loved about it was that it tracked us. So, we could see how far we'd gone. We could see it. We could put it into a map layer system. That's was great. Also, for Dave, because he had this screen on his handlebars, it was a godsend for when we were in a place like, what does that say? Janija. I don't even know where that is. But the BAM road is in Russia, of course. But also bring paper maps, because technology fails and you don't always get the Wi-Fi needed to do a software update and whatnot. These GPS systems, of course, you can get really rudimentary ones from Garmin or anywhere that aren't super fancy and don't need a bunch of updates. But I would also carry a paper map, and that can just be as simple as printing out something from Google Maps and just taking it with you. You don't need to have this elaborate system. Although Butler maps are also fantastic for planning your rides. Next thing I would say that's important is whether you're riding with people or not, learn a good way to lift your bike. And this is something that Shell Marie teaches in her course too.
Yay. Practice
So
on repeat. You can practice all winter in your
exactly.
garages.
That is
All
a
winter
great.
long. You don't have to be out riding and practice. You don't have to wait to crash to lift your bike. In fact, you should not.
Please don't wait to crash to lift your bike. Yeah. That's exactly right, Eva. It's such a great idea. This is something that for any of you who are maybe nervous about even just getting out and doing a weekend ride, maybe start by just getting your bike out on a patch of grass and repeatedly lifting. Have somebody there to spot you just in case. And definitely look up the right way to do it just so you don't wreck your back or knees. But it's like when I started learning how to kayak and I was able to do a roll, I just felt immensely better being on the river. And being able to lift your bike. This is a heavy bike. This is the F800, so 500-600 pounds. Being able to lift it with the proper technique, you don't need that much strength. You just need the technique. That said, it is also important to lift your bike when it's fully loaded.
Damn it.
It's hard to see, and there's a lot of commentary here that I'm going to try to
Take that thing.
I'm not sure if y'all can hear this, but
Is that you grunting and groaning? Is that
like I'm in labor.
yeah. I love it. Where are you in this video?
Ah.
I am in Russia, and I just promised Dave that if I could go down by myself, that if I dropped my bike, I would wait for him. But I don't like being that girl. So I lifted it myself. Now, important technique there is to make sure that kickstand is down before lifting your bike up, because then it just topples over the other side. So as you can see here, this bike is really loaded. This is my Around the World kit. And a lot of it was luck, but I was able to leverage it enough that I could just get it past that point where you're going to make it. But again, make sure that kickstand is down, or else you're just going to have to do it all over again. So again, great thing you can practice in your yard. Just load it up, put 100 pounds of gear on there, and just do it until you get tired. It's also a great workout.
Love it. And just a quick time check for you, Heather. We got about 15 minutes. So
awesome. Okay. Well, I think
there's some juicy slides because I have a sneak preview of the presentation. So I don't want to miss out on some of these later slides.
Okay.
Really good.
Thank you. I'm going to cook along. We've talked about best riding gear that you can afford. Dealing with heat is huge. Make sure you're always hydrated and bringing those electrolytes. It's not enough sometimes just to drink water. Carry a spare key, especially if you're by yourself. You never know when you're going to drop it in the bathroom or something, and then you don't know where it is. Hide it on your bike somewhere. Under the seat is a great place. For comfort, store things for easy retrieval. So hats and snacks and water. So when you're really tired and you're in the Namib desert, like I am here, and you have a pounding headache, you can just quickly grab things. You don't have to search all through your panniers. Take a recon trip. Of course, if you're looking at going into your neighborhood in your area, this is a great thing to do, is just like maybe go drive what you can and see like, oh, if I was on a bike, like how am I going to make this left turn safely? Or if you have the opportunity and the time to take a recon trip, that's a great way to be prepared. Try not to overplan. That's tricky. Let the road take you as we like to say. I mean, we've got so much technology these days that we don't really have to plan everything so much, we can find an Airbnb or a campsite really easily on our phone. Go light. This is all the gear I packed for my first day of riding around the world. Everything in red, I think pretty much are things that I sent home a couple weeks later from Mexico, and it equated to about 15 pounds of gear. Things that I was like, I'm never going to need this or use this. This might be kind of fun to post. Remind me, Eva, and I can get this to everybody just to show what I did bring, if that's of interest.
I love it. It's great. What's the white box, the number 7 box? Is that just that's your pile of clothes?
Yeah, that is, yeah, I think those are all clothes I ended up sending home though.
I love it.
I mean, I lived in like a pair of jeans and 2 t-shirts and 3 pairs of underwear for 2 years.
That's great. I mean, it looks by the looks of the little red X's, you sent home like 20% of your stuff.
Yeah.
And you hit Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just like, it makes a world of difference. It's just like if you're a backpacker, right? And you take 15 pounds out of your backpack, it's huge. So yeah, I'm happy to share that. And so the point is to not look like this. This is heavily overloaded. There's just way too much stuff here. Also, I have my spare gas carried up high. On my second bike, I ended up getting an auxiliary gas tank that helped everything be much lower. And then after, some time in the saddle, it's not like you can figure all this out right away. So don't get angry with yourself or stress about it. You have to learn these things as you go. But in time, I was able to have a really neat looking package of a bike. So from there to there. And if anybody wants to know if I prefer hard cases or soft cases, I have a great write-up in Expedition Portal about do you like it hard or soft?
Awesome.
Can share that too. So yeah, tip number 4, ride like a girl. Always, whatever that means to you, right? Like I liked spraying nail polish. I felt like such a dirtbag all the time. And it was so important to me that I just had these little reminders in my head, like, hey, I'm a girl and I'm doing a really cool thing. I'm not just trying to be a dude and muscle through it. So whatever that looks for you, if it means bringing mascara for your nights out on the town or nail polish or a cute dresses can be tiny, like they can squeeze up. I mean, I found myself really craving some of this stuff after 2 years. I just wanted to like wear a dress and heels, and I never wanted to do that in my life before. Body care. I really regret not bringing some good quality face stuff, like good face soaps and face creams. There's not always room for that kind of stuff. And one of the best things you can bring with you is coconut oil. You can eat it, you can cook with it. It just makes you look amazing. You're glowing, you put it on your skin. It's so versatile. It can also change from a liquid to a solid without repercussions. Body care also involving stretches, yoga, things like that. But I'm going to scoot ahead here because I want to get to the goods. So I want everybody to feel comfortable talking about some of this stuff. We are women. We have vaginas. They have to stay clean. It is very hard to do that when you are traveling. And if you're camping for like 7 days in a row and you've got a Diva cup and you're wondering, how do I keep this clean and where do I put it? So I'm just going to get right into the dirty details. I did ride with a Diva cut. It cuts down on packaging like tampons and things like that. I felt that it was the most hygienic. I made sure to clean it out. Of course, if I was in a hotel room, that was really easy, but we mostly camped. And sometimes we did not camp where there was water, but I always carried water because I like to stay hydrated. So one funny little kind of technique I have is I will fill my mouth with a whole bunch of water and I will take the Diva cup and I will spit on it and I'll pour it out. And then I'll wipe it with wet wipes and make sure it's sanitized. Tea tree oil is also a great way to keep things clean and sanitized. This new product I didn't know about before. I've never used it. I can't say for sure, but it's a whole body deodorant. So for anybody who worries about smells and things like that, excuse me, this is apparently a great product that you can use on your pits, privates, and beyond. That's what it says. So staying clean is important. We don't want to get infections. I suffered for about a week with a bladder infection on some really rough roads. It was torture getting in and out of the tent with that. It happens, especially if you're on a really long trip. But there are ways to help mitigate that. And, we're all, this is something that we as females have to think about. So we've got the having to stay alert, making sure that you're safe. And then there is the whole hygienic side of it too. I would say those are the top two challenges of riding as women on long distance or overnight trips. And I know that there are women out there that do not go and do these trips because they're worried about some of these things. So my hope is that we can all talk candidly about these types of things. I think this is information that is not out there. I've been told this is going to be recorded and put on YouTube, which I think is great. It is good to have this information out there for other women. And if you're not at this point in your life or whatever, I'm happy to talk to you about menopause too, because that's a recent thing as well. Not so recent.
I think this needs to be a little blog post. Some of that info should just live on the SheADV website, and we can send it off to everybody, so the whole world knows.
I will absolutely share that with you guys if you'd like, and write a blog post or whatever. Yeah, for sure. We don't have a lot of time. I really want to save time for questions. So if we can talk about how to pay for a big trip, and maybe in the questions, it is in more detail in my book as well. Bike mods and maintenance were not my thing. I was lucky to be traveling with a guy that knew all that stuff, but at the same time, I wish I did know more. And if you have the time, it's great to take some training on how to take care of your bike. So long distance and international rides, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about that because I feel like we've kind of covered the basics of it. But I would say one of the biggest things is rest when you can. This sign here is in Russian. It says Magadan 1,800 kilometers. On roads like this, you don't know, if you've never been there before, if that's going to take you a week or 3 weeks. So rest when you can. Always try to really take care of your body because it really does start to wear on you after a while. Choosing the ideal bike. Again, I can go into that if anyone's interested in the comments, but it is so personable. And I did start out on a 650 GS. It ended up tanking on me in Alaska, and I had to buy another bike. That was an interesting side story as well. But I'll save that for another time, or it's in the book. And then tires. We don't have to get into tire conversations, although maybe it's more intense with men, but tires are your most important contact with the road. And it doesn't matter what bike you have or how great your skills are. 50/50 tires were our go-to every time. They can go on almost any surface. And they were absolutely fantastic for getting on and off road. For women, before that, make copies of all of your documents if you're traveling internationally. You can sometimes get away with color photocopies of things. For women traveling alone in foreign countries, wear a wedding ring. It just saves you a lot of harassment. You'll probably still get harassed, but it does mitigate a lot. as I was saying earlier, it's important to rest and treat yourself for whatever you can afford. Just take a spa day here and there, get a massage. It does wonders. Borders are a whole other issue with international travel. This was a 3-hour lineup for us. And what I will say quickly about Borders is have lots of food and fluid and start early in the morning. Don't rock up there at 3 p.m. You're exhausted, it's hot, and they might close and you can't get through. I think we've covered the kind of the gist of the challenges of riding as a female, but I hope that I've also excited you. Some tips: get off the bike and integrate, whether you're in your home country or home city or you're across the world. Always lift your lid. Make sure people can see your smiling faces, that you're friendly, that you're a woman. I mean, as soon as I would take off my helmet and people saw I was a female, the whole vibe changed. So talk to locals, talk to other travelers, smile a lot. Find out your foreign country entry requirements in advance, not too far in advance because they can change, but 24, 48 hours, you can look at anything online that will tell you how much a border crossing will cost, for example, and it'll be fairly accurate. And it's very important to arrive with that knowledge so that you don't get scammed by corruption or fixers that are trying to extort more money. We stayed away from bribing. We didn't give candy or money to kids because it usually ends up in the wrong hands or they get beat up for it. And it's just this perpetual thing that's horrible. We did not skimp on travel insurance because I actually got hurt outside of my country and I was glad for it. And most important, don't listen to negative comments. You're going to have people who love you, who don't want you to go. If you feel like it's right for you, just ignore them. So there's lots of female riders out there. These are some of my friends. Some of them are much more well known. Some of them I want them to be my friends. But they're out there, and connect with them. This is like you're starting by just coming to this presentation and seeing all of you here. Just Google solo female riders or female riders. Groups for female riders.
Like SheADV, for example.
Exactly.
I love this. Oh, this is a good slide. And then we got to jump into questions. We have so many questions, Heather, like so many questions, because everybody wants to win the book, of course.
Okay, let me just
ringers, but give us your little wrap up because you got some good closing points.
I'm finished. I just want everyone to see me in my underwear before I go. That's really important.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I wish that we had like 3 hours for this presentation because I have I'm just going to book a one-on-one with you, Heather, so that I can ask you all the questions.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to go way back in the chat. And ladies, apologies for my brevity. But we're just going to fire off a few more questions for Heather. And we do have the opportunity. Go ahead and scan that QR code if you're on your screens. Heather's book is available. So not all of you are going to get a chance to win it. So the rest of you can get really excited to buy it, which I know I'm going to do, which is super cool. But going way back in the chat, how much camping versus hoteling would you say that you did?
That is a great question. And I know the answer to that because I did keep some notes. I would say it was split a third of hotels, a third camping, and a third with friends, new friends, and family. So as you can kind of surmise by that, only about a third of our travels were actually spent paying for accommodation. I mean, it was a great way to save a lot of money.
I love that. Awesome. This is the rapid fire. Okay. When did you first have the idea to write the book? When did you fully decide to actually write it? And how long did it take? Quick and dirty on the book process.
Yeah, I decided to write it about 2 seconds after Dave asked if I wanted to do the trip. I have been a freelance writer for about 30 years. I've had a lot of stuff published, or I've had stuff published that gave me the confidence to feel like I could probably write a book. And then it took me 8 years.
Mhm.
It's an incredibly daunting process. It's my first book. I'm used to writing magazine articles that are about 2,000 words long. So a huge learning experience, but it took me a while. Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you support yourself financially while taking 2 years to ride?
Yeah, so I'm glad that question came back, because what we did was talk to some other world travelers, which is just a great resource. I love talking about our trip. People love imparting their knowledge. And something that was really useful for us was to set a budget, but not really worry too much about it. So we were encouraged to set aside about $50 a day per person, or $100 per couple. Now that's $70,000 over 2 years. A lot of money. If you split that in half, it's $35,000 each. And then if you split that in half again, because it's 2 years, that's just over $18,000 a year. How many of you would spend $18,000 just to have an experience of riding, instead of on clothes and coffee and maybe a new car? So it becomes a little bit easier to understand the cost when you factor in what you might spend on a day-to-day basis throughout the year.
I love that. That's awesome. Was there any gear that you got rid of that you regretted?
Yes. Oh, well, it's funny because my editor said, "Oh, you should probably put in the book that you regret sending that home." Um, oh my gosh, I forget what it was. I want to say my yoga mat, but I definitely had that with me. Um, yeah, it was something about like it was like a comfort item that really wasn't so much necessary, but was like just nice to have when you're kind of feeling down or lonely. I mean, it wasn't like a teddy bear or anything. I left that at home.
Well, maybe this will jog your memory.
Yeah.
What was your favorite luxury moto camping item? And you're not allowed to say nail polish again because you already said that.
A sundress.
Oh, I love that. So you did bring the dress. That's cool.
I did. I brought a sundress. The best thing in the world when you're sweaty and hot and nasty is getting into camp, taking off your sweaty boots, slipping into flip-flops, and then just pulling a sundress over and have nothing else on. It's like everything airs out and you just feel beautiful and amazing, and it's nice and cooling. Yeah, sundress.
I love it. Okay, let's see. Last question. Tips or tricks to start planning such a journey in case there's some folks in the audience besides me who are dreaming of a round the world trip.
Well, I mean, I guess I um I feel like there was in the presentation there was tips in there about how to, I guess, kind of just get some encouragement and confidence that has to come from you, from within. If you have somebody who's telling you to do a trip like this and you have reservations, that person probably won't be on the trip with you. If you have friends that are like, "Hey, it'd be so cool if you did it," but then they're gone and you're on this trip and it's not for you, then that becomes really, really tricky. So it has to come from within.
Mm. You have to feel that initial pull. Well, I love that so much. All right, 7:30 over here on the dot, 8:30, 9:30, 6:30, whatever time it is for you, wherever. The winner, drum roll please, to not keep you, of Heather's book is, wait, I lost my text. Giselle Smith. Congratulations, Giselle. Riding Full Circle is going to be coming your way. We can book club it together on SheADV and check in with each other for notes. But congratulations, Giselle. And let's make sure that we drop the Heather's website into the chat one more time. Highly encourage y'all to jump in and support. and check out this book because, like what you said, Heather, it was such a cool concept. Like the same stuff applies whether you're riding around the block or riding around the world. So just taking those first
Absolutely.
steps is so cool. So thank you so
And-
much for sharing the inspiration. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I thank you for the opportunity and the platform. And I just want to say, if you're not ready to invest in a book, or if funds are tight or whatever, if you just go to the website and sign up for the newsletter, I send out infrequent news about the book, and it's just a little reminder. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And also, there is a way to contact me on the website. So please, if you have any more questions, reach out.
I love it. Awesome. Heather, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you out on the road this summer. Hopefully we can have you back for some more SheADV once the book's had its chance to do its round the world spin. And yeah, we can just keep the conversation going. Ladies, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Get inspired, go practice bike lifts in your driveways, or just get out for a ride because the weekend is here, and so excited for this beautiful fall weather. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you out there before too long in the internet, ladies. Have a wonderful night. Thanks so much.
Happy riding.
Yeah. Bye, ladies. Have a great night.
Yeah. Bye-bye.